Hello anybody, and thanks for watching Monday Morning Handicapping. This is How to Read a Racing Form Part 10, Finishers and Trip Notes. We're going to be taking a look over here at this block to the right, starting with this column of L's all the way to the end of the page over here. So let's zoom in and take a look. So beginning on the very left-hand column, we see a string of L's. Any letters in here indicate medication that the horse was taking for this race. L is one that you'll see most common, which stands for Lasix, and I'm not going to get into the different types of medications or their effects on the racehorse, but maybe in another video. But this indicates what medications the horse was on for a given race. The next column over, we have some numbers. This indicates the weight that the horse was carrying for this race. So in this horse's last race, he was carrying 124 pounds. The race before, 122, and so on and so forth. This number up here tells us what weight the horse is carrying today, and this is the previous races and the weight the horse was carrying. Next column will have some lowercase letters. This is the equipment line. A lowercase f indicates front wraps, which are kind of like bandages wrapped around the front ankles of a racehorse. Rule of thumb is the first time a horse wears them, such as in this race, it could be a red flag depending on what is ailing the horse. But again, that's just a rule of thumb. The lowercase b indicates blinkers, which are the cups that you'll see on the side of a racehorse. These are designed to keep a racehorse focused and sometimes encourage the horse to show a little more speed from the start of the race, but ultimately keeps the horse focused and not so distracted during a race by what's going on around him. Next column over, you'll see some numbers with a decimal point, and this indicates the odds that the horse was going off at, the betting odds. So this horse was 5.3 to 1 this race, 16.6 to 1, 10.1, and so on and so forth. And if you see an asterisk next to the odds, that indicates that this horse was the betting odds favorite in that given race. So he was the lowest odds of any horse in that race. This column over here is the track variant. It measures how fast or slow a particular track is playing. I would take this personally with a grain of salt from everything I've read. Again, you can read more about how a track variant is calculated, but it is heavily dependent on how good the horses were in a given race for a given class at a given distance. But ultimately, the number to the right indicates how fast or slow the track was playing. So this means that the track was playing 8/5 of a second slow, 9/5 of a second slow, 11/5 of a second slow, so about 2 seconds slower than the average at this class level at this distance. Again, highly dependent on the horses that were actually running those races. To the right, we'll have 3 names, and these are the top 3 finishers of any given race. So the last race that this horse ran was won by Love My Jimmy, who was carrying 120 pounds and was 1 3/4 lengths ahead of the second place finisher, Truth Seeker, who was carrying 124 pounds, and beat the third place finisher by 1 1/4 length, Two Lane Trist, who was carrying 120 pounds, and beat the fourth place finisher by a neck's length. Also, you'll notice this name is italicized, so is this one, so is this one, so is this one, so is this one, and so on. And when a name is italicized, that indicates that that horse came back and won its subsequent start. If you look down below, you'll see some bold names. Bold indicates that this horse we're looking at ran against the Chosen Vron 2 and 3 races ago. And because this name is bold, that means the Chosen Vron is also in this race that we're looking at today. So it's a rematch between these horses. You'll also notice he ran against Big City Lights, who is also in this race today, as indicated by those bold letters. Far off to the right, we have trip notes, and it's limited in characters and length, but it tries to paint a picture of how this horse ran its race, any trouble it encountered during the race, such as bumped or pinch start. If there was no traffic, it will describe where the horse was racing relative to the other horses, whether it was wide, up close, how it finished, such as weekend. Yep, just tries to paint a little picture of how the horse ran its race. So that pretty much sums up the last section of how to read a racing form. I don't suspect I will come out with any more how-tos on how to read the racing form unless requested, or I feel like I skipped over a pretty important part, but I I feel like this was a pretty good overview of all the sections for a beginning horse player, what it means on the surface level, and as I get into more handicapping videos, I will try to show everyone how it all comes together and how you look at it all from a 30,000 foot view and compare it with the other runners in the race. And that's how you eventually settle on a winner, or how you think the race is going to shape up, or who might have a sneaky chance at winning that maybe the public doesn't see. So if anyone has any questions or comments, or wants me to expand further on any areas of the racing form, feel free to leave a comment. Please like or subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Thank you.